Hello and welcome back. My name is Dr. Donald Sorah. I'm Associate Professor of Music at the University of Virginia's College at Wise, and I'm pleased to be here once again to help you prepare your prepared selection for the 2022 Virginia All-State Band Audition coming up here in a couple weeks. So in today's session, we'll be talking about, this is session 3, we'll be looking at the A prime section. So the end of the piece, we worked on the very beginning. The end is very similar with a few changes, so I thought I'd pair those together. If you come back for the next session, we'll look at the B section in the middle, and then we'll wrap it up finally with articulation, dynamics, and musicality. So what are we looking at today? We'll be looking at the meter and the rhythm, first of all, of the A prime section, which runs measures 21 through 32. So the rhythm of this section is very similar to the A section. If you've got the A section down pat, and we went through a pretty detailed description of how to count in 9/8, 6/8, 3/8 in those compound meters in our last session. So if you need to review that, please pop back over there and take a look. But many of these rhythms are similar. However, we have a few at the very end that the composer has taken 28 and 29 from the B section, and then 30 and 31 are new rhythms we haven't seen just yet. So let's take a look at the piece for just a moment, and let's look at those measures. So here we're looking at, in detail, measures 28 and 29. So for following my first system for counting, in which each eighth note is counted, so 6/8 there would be 6 eighth notes, or 9/8 there'd be 9. We follow the counts that would be 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 6 for the first measure, right? And then the second measure is very similar, just with more sustain on the second beat. It's sustained a beat longer. So if you put those together, ready, go. 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 6, 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 9, 1. And we're back to the last line, measure 30. Okay, so let's take a look at measure 30. Watch the ties here. So these notes are going to come at the very end of the measure. Also, it's nice because eventually we'll add in the retard, and really timing is not quite as essential as it normally would be, right? Because we have the opportunity to retard. Just make sure you hold your first note the full value. So in measures 30 and 31, we have, ready, go. 1 and 6 and 1 and 6 and 1, off. So if we put those together, let's look at the last four measures. We're looking at measures 28, 29, 30, and 31. Let's count those together. Ready, go. 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 6, 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 9, 1, and 6 and 1, and 6 and 1, and that's it. So let's go back to A. Now that we have that all worked out, let's go back to A and work on our counts. Notice I've provided a few little cheat counts here for all of us, and hopefully that will help out as we go through. Okay, so here we go. Count with me, starting at A, measure 21. Ready? Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6, 1, 6, 7, 9, and 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 3, 4, 6, 7, 9, 1, and 3, 4, 9, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 6, 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 9, 1, and 6 and 1, and 6 and 1. Of course, counting is the best way to do this because we learn through the process. However, I know there's a short turnaround between when this music came out and when you have to perform it. So if you need to take away the counts and so you don't get tongue-tied, that's totally fine. So let's go back and let's try that one more time without the counts, just kind of singing the rhythm. Ready? Go. Da da dee da da dee da 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 dee da dee da 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 da. And that's it. Hope you love my singing. It's not the best. So that's a good overview of that page, or that section. So we also have the coconut rhythms, if you recall from our last session. Ding, da da, ding, da da, coconut, coconut. Make sure it has that lilt and that bounce to it, just like you were saying the word. Of course, it's very important that we use the metronome. And as introduced last time, I like the tonal energy tuner / metronome. I've got this one set at dotted quarter equals 60 and divided into 3/8 notes, which would be maybe a good place to start, maybe even slower. So, of course, it's not playing. I had it set up. Give it just a second. D, da, D, da, da, D. So to make sure you align with that metronome, it's very important as you practice to use the metronome. So we counted and we sang through all the rhythms. I tried, if you notice in my last run through, to try to incorporate some dynamics and accents in those slur patterns. So begin to look at the articulations. Never too early to start to tie that in, so we don't have to put it all in at the very end on our last session. So that covers rhythm. Let's look at the key and the pitch of the piece now, of this section. So it is primarily in B flat with just a couple accidentals. We have a B natural in there, which takes on like a G major triad arpeggio, and we also have a little C sharp at the end, sort of as a embellishing note moving up to the D. I would recommend that you follow your melodic contour. Again, don't think it's silly. Follow the shape of that melody as you sing through the melody. That kinesthetic movement really helps to lock in the contour of the melody. And as always, I recommend for students to slur through those pitches with disregard to the rhythm. What this does is it really solidifies the intervallic relationships to make sure you're on the right partial as you move through, to make sure that you're using sufficient air to be able to reach those. Some of those jumps are large. We have octaves and sixth jumps, and it requires a lot of increase in the air stream to make sure we can lock those in. And be meticulous with your quality control. So as you're playing through and you miss an interval, stop and work and fix it instead of just kind of running through and ingraining bad habits. So I'm going to demonstrate this, and I'm likely to make some mistakes. So if I do, I'm going to be a good example, and I'm going to slow down. I'm going to slow down and fix those issues for you. So here we go. So I didn't feel the octave popped out as well as it should from the G to the G. So let's try that again. And I find this is a good starting place to go back to measure 25, because these next three measures are a little tricky. Okay, so what I find most tricky about that whole section is really measure 26 and 27. So slow down, lock those in, and make sure you can slur those. I know slurring makes it more difficult, but if you can get that air moving and add the tongue in later, you're going to be in great shape. So let's try 25 one more time. That's the one. The D popping up to the B flat. You got to make sure you increase the airspeed to pop up there. So if you think about it, you're skipping over two partials, two notes, the F and the A flat, which comes out with first valve, to try to lock that in. Let's try one more time. Okay, this seemed to fix it a bit, right? So if we go back and we add the tongue in at a slow tempo, we should have something like this. And again, those notes didn't lock in at the end. What do? Go back and slur through. Put it back into context. And that seems to lock everything in. So make sure you practice meticulously. Don't learn the wrong intervals. And here's the best tip ever. Shh, don't share with anyone. Don't share with anyone. The best tip ever is to practice from slow to fast with a metronome. Shh. Okay, don't give away the secret. I dare you to do that. You'll improve immensely. Please tune back in next time when we go back to that B section and revisit some of that section. And I'll see you then. Thanks a bunch.